ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for common sense and no BS? Welcome to the Jim Harrington Show, the greatest show on earth. And now, here's your host, Jim Harrington.
Hi, I'm Jim Harrington. Welcome back to the Jim Harrington Show, otherwise known as what, Liam? The greatest show on earth. Here we are about 3 months into Trump's second term, and there's a lot of big things happening. As of the middle of May, Trump signed over 150 executive orders on all kinds of great stuff that's going to help the country. He even signed one to end the Obama-Biden war on water pressure and make America's showers great again. He said he wanted to take care of his beautiful hair. Liam, you should be all over that one. He says he's already got beautiful hair. Perfect, Liam. Trump is kicking ass and taking no prisoners, and everything he's doing is to try to help Americans for a change instead of everybody else. We're still global citizens. We still care. We'll still continue to do good things all around the world, and I'm all for that. But Americans are now first in line instead of last in line. Today's show is about how things are going to end up pretty good if we just have a little patience. Don't fall for the Democrats and the media saying that Trump is going to destroy the country and we're going to have a worldwide depression and everybody's going to die curled up in the corner of a cave someplace. That's just them wish casting. They want failure. They're praying Trump fails and goes down on a ball of flames. Trump accomplishing real change, good changes that make the country better, the American people's lives better, is their worst nightmare. And if he succeeds, they'll look like idiots. Let's go back 45 years to 1980. Back in 1980, New York City, under Democrat Mayor Ed Koch, closed up Wollman Rink. Wollman Rink was an ice skating rink in New York City that people loved. People loved taking their kids there. Young people that went there on dates there and held hands and skated around. I guarantee you've seen it in movies. For decades, Wollman Rink was a city landmark. I mean, they made postcards out of it for tourists. But the city government let it totally go to hell, and it was falling apart, and it turned into a mismanaged shithole. The city said, we'll fix this. 6 years and $12 million later, which was over budget by more than double, Wollman Rink was still closed up. It wasn't just a mismanaged shithole anymore. It was an embarrassing mismanaged shithole. It was making the whole city look bad. And the fact that the city couldn't fix it in 6 years and way over budget was just a joke. Enter Donald Trump. Trump was a real estate developer in New York at the time. He'd watched the city try and fail to fix the rink for 6 years, and he finally said, enough of this stupidity. I'll fix it, and I'll fix it fast. The city was like, yeah, sure, Donald, you go ahead. Fix it. Show us how it's done. The politicians in City Hall were praying for him to get out on the ice, so to speak, and fall on his ass. They wanted him to fail so bad so they could say, see, it's not us. He can't do it either. Nobody can. Trump fixing the ice skating rink and getting it back open after they failed for 6 years would make them look like idiots. But Trump didn't fail. He fixed it, and he fixed it ahead of schedule and under budget, and people loved it. According to the New York Times at the time, Trump fixed Wollman Rink 2.5 months ahead of his own speedy 6-month schedule and $750,000 below his own projected $3 million budget. Having taken over the project after the city spent 6 years and $12 million unsuccessfully trying to get the job done. And that's just where we are today. Just like New York City politicians turned the beautiful Wollman ice skating rink into a total shithole and then couldn't fix it even after 6 years, all of the smart people, all of the politicians and bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. were turning our beautiful country into a mismanaged shithole, and nobody was fixing anything. Donald Trump, now president, is stepping up again and saying, enough of this stupidity, I'll fix it. Trump's making big, bold moves to fix things that should have been fixed a long time ago, and they hate it. It exposes their incompetence. It exposes that they're all foam and no beer, all Franks and no beans, all talk and no do. And just like 40 years ago with the skating rink, the politicians and bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. are praying for him to fall on his ass so they can say, see, he can't do it either. Nobody can. You'd think that people would have learned by now to not bet against Donald Trump. Big example. CBS News says that illegal immigrants coming across the border is now down 94% since Trump took office just a couple months ago, which is pretty amazing since we were told for years it couldn't be done, that the border is a really tough problem that our smartest people have been trying for decades to solve, and oh, it's just so complicated you wouldn't even understand. I think the greatest line in Trump's speech to Congress back in March was when he said, the media and our friends in the Democratic Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have new legislation to secure the border, but it turns out all we really needed was a new president. That's what's called a mic drop moment. You don't have to have a fancy schmancy degree from Harvard to figure out that an open border, endless wars, reckless spending, so many regulations and red tape that it's like molasses in January trying to start a business or get something built, and really expensive energy is just the perfect recipe to hold the country back. You also don't have to be Einstein to figure out how to fix it. You just have to have the balls to do it. There's 4 things that Trump's doing that are going to be like rocket fuel for the economy. And these are the reasons that the title of this episode is Don't Bet Against Donald Trump. The 4 rocket fuel things are tariffs, taxes, deregulation, and probably the most important, energy. You got tariffs to level the playing field and bring investment and manufacturing back into the United States, lower taxes to put more money in your pocket, less regulations so businesses can grow and hire people instead of being tangled up in red tape all the time. And you got lower energy costs if we drill, baby, drill, which is just what this administration says it's going to do. If we get those 4 things done, the economy is going to take off like a rocket. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I think that happened once back in the 1990s. But I don't know how you can add these 4 big things into the economy: tariffs, lower taxes, less regulation, and cheaper energy, and not see it take off like a rocket ship. It's like spraying ether into a truck engine on a really cold morning. You're going to get results. That cold engine's probably going to start. How do I know that, Liam? I know that because when I first got out of college, I worked at a big trucking company, and one of my jobs was starting up all the trucks. We called them tractors in the morning. When it was cold out, the only way you could get them started was to spray a little ether in the engine, okay? Now, sure, there's going to be some disruption up front. There's just no way around that. The stuff that Trump's doing is stuff that everybody's been complaining about and saying needed fixing for years. So it's no time to complain. You can't have it both ways. You can't complain about China and other countries eating our lunch and walking all over us for decades and then bitch about it when somebody finally tries to do something about it. So my advice, keep cool, be patient, and don't bet against Donald Trump. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some waves and false starts and confusion, but that's the price of admission. When all this gets worked out, and it's going to get worked out, there's going to be a big payoff in the end. It's just like when your dear Aunt Clara had her root canal at the dentist. She was pretty miserable at first, but now she's feeling better than ever. Just got to do it and get over the hump. That's the Jim Harrington Show for this week. Better times are coming our way. We got a lot going for us, but be patient and don't bet against Donald Trump. He got that ice skating rink back open after all the smart politicians and bureaucrats in New York City Hall couldn't fix it for 6 years, and now he's going to fix our country too, and fix things that should have been fixed a long time ago. The Democrats and most of the media are going to do everything they can to drag him down, even if it hurts the country. They don't care about that. It's all about keeping their power, not helping the country. And they will do anything to not be exposed as the empty suits they are. Don't fall for their crap. My advice, Democrats and the media, get on board or get run over. My next episode will be out next week, and it's going to be about the stock market. Everybody's looking at their 401ks and worrying. I got a big surprise for you in next week's episode about the stock market, and I think you're going to like it. And a real quick favor, hit the like button and subscribe. It just takes a second, and it really helps me out. And send a link of this episode to a friend. Maybe they'll like it too. Until next time, this is the Jim Harrington Show. See you next week.